Hello, comic fans, here's Earl Grey. We've been to Brussels for only 2 days recently, but man, what 2 days these have been. We were in the Museum of Natural Sciences with a fantastic display of their iguanodon collection. We wandered around the quite obnoxious Palace of Justice that divides the city in an upper and a lower half. What an ugly amalgamation of stone and mortar that is. But for the comic fan quite important, since it is an important building in the comics by Francois Schuiten and Benoit Peters. Speaking of Schuiten, if you look for his work, you'll find it in many places. Be it this poster for the Victor Horta house. Schuiten has been one of the main figures to keep this beautiful Art Deco house alive. It's turned into a museum, which we visited as well. And he designed a metro station. Honestly, one of the highlights of our visit. So if you go to the station called Porte des Halles, don't forget to look for this great scenery suddenly popping out of nowhere when you go down. It recreates some important panels of the comic Brüssel, which I've shown you before. But there's stuff for every kind of comic fan throughout the city. In particular for the fans of Franco-Belgian bande dessinée, or BD in short, because this city is proud of their BD and it shows in almost each street and corner. Lots of comic shops and decorations and gallery exhibitions with artworks from important cartoonists like the Italian Liberatore, for instance. Absolutely unique and fun are the murals you can find in many places in Brussels. That's the site that you'll find if you search for BD Parcours, showing you all the places where you can find them. Or at least almost all of them, because their number is growing quite fast. Last time I checked the site, it seems that there are 71 of them, all of them using concepts by the original cartoonists. Even though my wife turned out to be quite a mural spotter, we only could find just a fraction of these 71. But they were all beautiful and fit into the surroundings, a lot of them relating to their place in the city. Like this picture of Odeon Verrius using a part of the aforementioned Palace of Justice. Or, maybe even better, the cartoony Leonardo painting that building. Or here, it's Brussels in a nutshell by Philippe Dupuis, a very beautiful mural in my opinion. Or the most famous one of them all with Tintin. Here you can see it in the middle. Or the first one with Brousset, in German Jonas Valentin, done in 1991, a really beautiful one, on which he walks with his girlfriend in the sky above the streets of Brussels. Overall, what a simple yet great way to celebrate your comic culture. I was blown away how comics or BD are such a loved and natural part of the city and the city life. And asked myself, why don't we do this in other places? Why don't paint Berlin, for instance, with Diddy und Stulle, Max und Moritz, Gang Ho, Ralf König, Fix and Foxy, Mackie, Space Dog, Reinhard Kleist, just to name a few that spring to my mind when I think of German comics and cartoonists. Anyhow, this was great, and I haven't even mentioned the Comics Art Museum, situated in a beautiful Art Deco house by, yes, Victor Horta. When you walk into that gorgeous building, you see comics hanging from the ceiling, statues everywhere, and lots of original artworks. Could have been more of the artworks in my humble and unsatiable opinion, but hey, you can't complain when you're in comic heaven, can you? Beside their permanent exhibition, there were 2 exhibitions, one of them about the Smurfs, which was very charming, and a bigger one about the history of the publisher Lombard. To top it all, the ground floor of that said museum has the wet dream of a comic shop. Seriously, look at these shelves, look at the presentation of the books. Speaks more than 1,000 words. Please, dear spaghetti monster, if there is something like reincarnation, please let me reincarnate in this splendid city. One last thing before you leave. I've talked about our visit with my good YouTube pal, Reverend, on my second channel, the German channel Earl's Waschmaschine. There you will have me raving a lot more about Brussels and how wonderful it is. So check this out, and just in case you understand German, of course. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.